If you just kill the cancer, you may win the battle, but you're going to lose the war. So if you get a 52% kill rate with ivermectin and a 50% kill rate with curcumin, but a 10% kill rate with fenbendazole, why bother with fenbendazole? But be sure I'm going to be doing curcumin and IV vitamin C or ivermectin and whatever. If I get anything that has over a 40-45% kill rate, I'm going to be paying attention to.
Welcome to the Deeper Healing Podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Howley. This is for everyone who's been dismissed, misdiagnosed, or told to just live with it and refuse to accept that answer. You're going to hear amazing patient recovery stories, raw and real in their own words. People who found answers after everything had failed them. You're going to hear from medical experts we trust that are pioneering new approaches to healing the body, because we deeply know we're designed to heal. Let's dig in.
Hi, it's Danielle here with Deeper Healing, and I'm here with Drea, and she's got a crazy health story. And when I heard that, I was like, is that even possible? So this is what happened. She basically, in the last year, took 10 years off her vein health. So what does that mean? And all of her other doctors are like, wait a minute, this isn't even possible. So let's talk about, first of all, you're young, you're beautiful, you're very healthy, you eat great, you're thin, you're in great shape. I would not look at you and go, wow, Drea really needs to worry about her heart health. That is not something or your vein health. I would not have said that. So what even made you think to look into this in the first place?
So it's been about 8 years now, but my mom had a triple bypass, and she didn't actually have a heart attack, but she had a triple bypass. So I was already concerned that it could be something inherited or whatnot. So I had a heart cath score test, which tests, I guess, basically if you're going to have a heart attack, predicts those kind of things. And the ideal number is 0, which is what mine was. So it was absolutely perfect. But then fast forward a few years later, my friend who was a doctor actually started living with me and had an ultrasound where he could ultrasound the carotid artery. And I love any kind of numbers. So I was like, sure, let's do it. And when he got the result back, my arterial age in my carotid artery was 10 years older than my actual age. So I started getting concerned. So, and talking with him, he was like, it's related to cholesterol, blah, 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 blah. So I cut out all meat except for fish. And I was like, it's going to be better. It's going to be great. About a year later, I retested and I was 20 years older in my arteries than my actual age. So I really started getting freaked out. So then I went down this whole rabbit hole. And in the meantime, I had already scheduled an appointment with Dr. Bauerschmidt. I hadn't met with him yet. I didn't even know about the carotid artery thing. I was just looking at overall health when I was meeting with him. So when I started researching it, I found this thing out in California called plaque. And it was the only thing that I could find with any semblance that could reverse this arterial thickening, other than maybe like this thing called the Ornish diet, which was an extremely strict diet that may at least stop the aging of it, but not reverse it to this extent. So
like mostly I don't hear people talk about just like preventing it getting worse.
Yeah.
But you don't actually hear about like a dramatic, like healing it, making it better.
When I went to retest it most recently, he was like, if you haven't progressed, that's a win. But that's not a win for me because I was already 20 years older. And again, in every other way, shape, or form, I feel like I'm physically much younger than my actual age. So
yeah,
it really scared me.
Yeah.
And especially after my mom had this triple bypass and she did not have a heart attack. So to me, that was a direct correlation to where I was headed.
Yes.
So I was like, there's got to be something you can do about this. We just have too much technology. So I found this thing called plaque in California. And so then I started researching, well, who near me could do that? And again, I already had this appointment with Bauerschmidt scheduled, but I had not been. And sure enough, Deeper Healing had the ability to do this. And I think it's phosphatidylcholine is what the IV is. Anyway, so even before I think I met with him, or right around then when I first met with him, we started scheduling the plaque. And I did 36 rounds because the best ideal treatment, they say, is between like 20 or 40 to get the most bang for your buck. And I knew I wanted to go all in because I needed a substantial reversal. So I did 36 rounds, and in between then I was traveling and stuff. And so I didn't want to give up my travel plan. So I did phospholipid on the go, kind of in the 2 months in between the series of 10 and 26 or whatever it was. So then when I retested, again, my mainstream doctor said, if you just don't move any forward, we'll consider that a win. But I had actually reversed my arterial age 10 years. So again, that's life changing and life saving.
Literally life saving. So when I asked Dr. B about your case, he was like, the key thing that she did was the chelating with the PTC. The PTC is the phosphatidylcholine. It was like that combination.
I also, did a heavy metal
Yes.
detox during
Yeah.
that time.
He said that was key. That's a very
And it was actually only the window that I did it was about 8 months. And again, I was traveling out of the country for 2 months. So in that time, I just did some kind of maintenance thing. So I didn't, stick it all in one chunk, but I did some actual IV chelation and I did DMSA.
Yeah.
And then Metapure or whatever.
So you
I
were
did some
so you were-
oral.
Yeah, so you were doing IV and oral chelating,
Correct.
and then you were kind of also doing that with the PTC too. You were
Absolutely,
doing the
I was.
IV and the
Yep.
oral.
Yeah.
So, but you were basically consistently kind of like pulling it down over, but you think about it, a short period of time.
Yeah.
8 months,
Yeah.
7 months to go from, I think I was looking at your test, it was like an arterial age of 74.
Yeah.
And you're in your 50s and you're super healthy. Like, this is a super healthy girl. So yeah, you're on a really bad path. This is one of those silent suffering kind of things where
Yeah, I wouldn't have known until it was too late.
you never
If I
would
had
have
it,
known until.
and I wouldn't have even thought to have the test, except for again, my friend had it, and so it was accessible, and I was like, let's do it.
And I wonder if you didn't have your mom. Like,
I wouldn't have been as concerned because immediately after she had that triple bypass, I went and did all the things like EKGs and again the heart cath score and everything was perfect.
Yeah.
So it did make me more at least conscious about paying attention.
So I think your story is extreme because you're so young, so healthy, and it was so severe. But imagine how many people are out there that have that high. What did Dr. B said? He's like, it's just like when you're soaking the pan and you have all that hard stuff on the edge, and then you're like, it's softly coming off and then it's going down the drain. That's pretty much what's happening. She cleared out her vein. That improves your entire circulation system, the oxygen delivery, the cell health, the blood health, your energy level. I mean, everything, every part of your body is improved by having healthy veins and healthy blood flow. So, I mean, it sounds like, oh yeah, that's great, 20 years, but it is literally life-saving and life-extending
For sure.
by doing that.
And as we age as women, we lose the estrogen, which keeps our arteries more pliable. So it's things you don't really, again, notice that are happening internally.
Yes. And it's funny, I think chelation gets a bad rap. I think a lot of people, because if you start researching it, there's so much pro and con, and then people get confused about what to do. And one thing no one ever really talks about is vein health. I hear a lot about, like, my own chelation story, like I have very high lead. And my thing is I'm all about preserving my brain. I look at all these memory care facilities. They're packed with people that are losing their minds, early dementia, Alzheimer's. Everyone you meet in their 40s, like, I can't think of the word. It's toxins, people. It's toxins. And I have no doubt that was a big contributing factor to your story.
My numbers, especially mercury and lead, were very
Were
high, but a
high.
lot of them were high. And my arsenic, my mainstream doctor told me not to worry about it because even by mainstream standards, my arsenic was very high. I still am not sure if it was from a sea salt or where it was coming from, but it was astronomically high. And again, my mainstream doctor was like, don't worry about it. It's organic. But to have all those things building up in my body and, because I'm pescatarian, it may have added to the mercury lead levels, but now they're back in a much healthier range. But I'm still knowing what I do now and how much I can shift things. I will still work on getting those down further and my arterial age down further.
I had an 80-year-old woman here. She would come in and she would do a chelation. She would probably come in like once a month. And I was like, how often are you going to do this? She's like, when I stop coming, I'm done. I was like, oh my God. Because she said, I know it's great maintenance for me. And I was like, what? And it was it was kind of my first epiphany of like, oh, this is something that is like a constant, if it's constantly coming in. So doing something, I feel like what you did was you just hit the reset button. You just kind of like pulled it way down, got yourself back to kind of like where you should have been at your age. And, just adding quality years of health to your life. Amazing. I hope somebody out there hears this story and is inspired or It's funny. I was talking to someone in here today. I'm doing a really cool recording today. They're like, oh my gosh, I know some people that need that. You can do better than just not making it worse, right? What if you could actually heal and get actually better, improve your health? That's what we want to do in deeper healing. We want to find out what's the culprit and go after it. Put the fire, as Dr. B says, put out the fire, but also find the arsonists and arrest them. And I'm really, really excited for your results. And thanks for sharing it. Sharing these stories are huge for people. You don't get this kind of information anywhere. Right.
Hi, everybody. I thought it would be really awesome because Drea's story is so amazing. I want to hear medically, because I know there's people out there that geek out about the stuff like, how did that even work? So how did that even work?
Let's be clear on a couple of points first,
Okay.
Danielle.
I think I screwed something up.
Yeah, she did. One, we're talking about arterial age, not vein age.
Okay.
The test that Drea was referring to is called a carotid Doppler or carotid ultrasound, where they actually measured the thickness of the lining of the wall of the artery.
Okay.
The thicker it is, the more advanced the age,
Okay.
because we're all kind of like, we're not getting any younger.
Mm-hmm.
So what she did is she reversed that age from going 10 years older than her biologic age back to her biologic age, which is phenomenal in and of itself. I mean, there's no reason that was clearly evident that she should have had that advanced aging other than her maternal history, mom's history. So that aside, why did it work? Plaque-X is actually the trademark name for the IV that the Anazao company uses to describe their IV product or IV formulation of phosphatidylcholine. Okay. Phosphatidylcholine is a very important component of our cell membranes. We actually use it to repair our cell membranes. And by its nature, phosphatidylcholine is actually, it's fatty.
Okay.
And believe it or not, if someone calls you a fathead, thank them, because over half your brain is lipid.
Okay.
We are really fatty organisms. Everything we have has to be fat soluble. It has to be able to be transferred across the cell membrane. The phosphatidylcholine is one of the big reasons that we can, because our cell membranes aren't just like one continuous border like you would see in a garden or on a map. It's actually a lattice work of interconnected strands, and the phosphatidylcholine is an important part of that strand work that allows molecules to slip through those holes and be transferred across into the cytoplasm of the cell, where all the work of the cell takes place. The cytoplasm of the cell is in and of itself a huge place, but bottom line, what we're doing here was helping her dissolve the plaque with the use of the phosphatidylcholine, because it will rebuild cell membranes. It will also transport fat, lipids and cholesterol. So it can work in the way of rebuilding damaged cells, which is why you started developing the plaque to begin with.
Okay.
And also it helps remove the plaque, helps dissolve the plaque and return it into your circulation.
So the metals were almost like the sticky part, like because she was doing them with chelation.
Yeah.
So the metals were kind of like so as she's taking her metal level down, then the phosphatidylcholine is like the grease that's kind of like letting it come out.
Well, kind of, sort of, and let's back up a little bit historically, because phosphatidylcholine happened on accidentally by a German physician years ago and healing one of his, I think it was a family member actually, that had a heart attack. And I don't know the circumstances around it, but the phosphatidylcholine seemed to help improve their health. Initially, it was primarily used in addition to chelation.
Okay.
Why? Because the metals are the irritants that cause the cell membrane. It actually has been shown in animal models that things like mercury and lead interfere with an enzyme that we need to prevent plaque deposition.
Okay.
So the metals actually permit the plaque deposition, and whether that's a direct toxic effect to the cell or not, I can't tell you, but we know that if we eliminate the metals, that enzyme comes back in the thing and we reduce plaque.
Okay.
So getting rid of in this case, the metals are the arsonists that started the fire.
Okay.
The plaque is the fire.
Okay. Okay.
So we get rid of the arsonist,
Okay.
put out the fire.
And so that's why that was working well together. And
Yeah.
that's why she was doing
Mhm.
those kind of back to back in a
Exactly.
regular way.
Exactly.
Now, if someone's out here going, okay, can I do this orally?
You can. It takes a lot longer, of course. I mean, in general, it's generally conceded that around 20 IV treatments is pretty much what you need. In general, if you were trying to rebuild your cell membranes orally, you're looking at a three-month period before you notice any kind of changes, and 6 months before you can say, I probably got my maximum benefit.
Okay.
Anything you take IV is certainly, you get 100% absorption.
Okay.
Orally, who knows? Depends on what shape your gut's in.
And because I was thinking they wouldn't be able to do it orally, because I was thinking, would you still do it, the metal removal and the phosphatidylcholine?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is, and for many years they were done in conjunction with one another.
Okay.
We know that they both work independently as well.
Okay.
I haven't, there was this trial to assess chelation therapy that looked at people that had a heart attack and they received chelation, and there was a decided benefit if you had chelation in terms of reducing your chance of another heart attack. The phosphatidylcholine has clearly also been shown independently to also help remove plaque and rebuild cell membrane laws. And in that respect, because it can help the body detoxify because as you break down a cell wall or rebuild a cell wall, things are being let loose and back into the circulation.
Okay.
So there's other benefits besides the plaque removal that phosphatidylcholine can provide. But I'm not aware of any study that said that we get X amount with chelation, X amount with plaque X, but we get 5X with using them combined.
Okay. That's really cool.
Mhm.
I mean, what's great is like so many of the doctors I've talked to, and obviously patients are like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know this was possible. So it's like, I think this is one of those
Right.
things where we had some wisdom and we maybe lost it on the way. And
There's lots we've lost along the way.
I know. So I love sharing stories like this because, I think Drea is a perfect example of like someone who is a picture of health, takes really good care of herself, and was told there was nothing that could be done. Now she's like, there was so much that could be done. I'm so excited, and I want more people to know about it. And that is literally the purpose of this podcast. My hope is that the right people find this, but I wanted you to kind of explain. Obviously, I botched that. I thought it was vein health, vein, artery, all the same. But, also like I know I'm dealing with my metals. I'm more concerned about my neurological symptoms. She's getting all the benefits of getting those heavy metal loads down. So, but then the direct benefit to her artery problems.
That's the demonstrable benefit.
Yes.
I mean, this is something that's really easy to do. It's really easy to measure. It's a simple outpatient test that any hospital and a lot of outpatient radiology places can do carotid Dopplers and just measure that thickness. There was another interesting, just looking back, there was an article out of Japan that looked at carotid artery thickness, and they measured after 10, 20, and 30 chelations. And each time they did another set of 10, that arterial improved, that artery health improved. So by itself, it's effective as well.
Is that only preventing heart attacks?
Oh, gosh, no. I mean, this is cleaning all your arteries. It doesn't just go to the carotid artery.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, I guess that's when I was saying vein health, I was thinking that's improving your circulation in every way.
Yeah.
Right. These are your main highways
your
that
arterial
you're clearing
health,
up.
Your arterial health that's the stuff that gets plugged up and deprives the body of oxygen. You deprive the body of oxygen, you quit making energy. You start dying.
Okay. All right. And for someone so young, that's the surprising part.
Yeah.
Most people, she's my age. I'm not out here checking my artery health. That's just not something I'm doing. I'm not thinking about that. So it was interesting. The only reason she had the thought to do that was just from her family history. But we've had plenty of people in here who are like, I'm very worried. I have a family history of this. And often they're just getting on a statin. They're just doing the prophylactic thing of like, I'm going to get on a statin and pull down
guys, you brought this up. Now you got to listen to the story.
Okay.
1992 or 93, I'm running the ER at Imperial Point Medical Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And a drug representative from Eli Lilly walks in, and drug reps never came into the ER because they got nothing to sell me. I mean,
Okay.
I'm like, I'm going to treat you and street you, or I'm going to treat you and admit you.
Yeah.
Okay. One of those two things. I don't write a lot of prescriptions. He comes in and he says, listen, doc, the next heart attack patient you got to give him my statin drug. And I'm going, what in God's holy name do I want to give somebody that's having a heart attack something to prevent a heart attack? And he says, no. It doesn't work by reducing cholesterol. It works through an anti-inflammatory effect like aspirin. And I went, that's interesting. I might want to do that then. And I checked the emergency medicine literature, and there were a few articles about it actually at the time. And then all of a sudden, those articles disappeared. And I often wondered why. And I thought about it, and I said, if people were reasoning that if it works like an aspirin, why not just give them an aspirin? Mm-hmm. And the drug companies, so they buried the articles, which they can do, and they do on a regular basis when things don't go to their bottom line. And they look, because, at one point, just the Lipitor was a $9 billion a quarter profit maker.
Wow.
So bottom line is, inflammation is the enemy. It's not the cholesterol. It's the oxidation of the LDL, which happens as a result of inflammation, that makes it sticky.
Okay. All right, there you go, folks. That's straight from the medical director at Deeper Healing. And now you understand what happened with Drea's story, which is an incredible healing story that many, many people need. Thanks for listening.
We hope this episode inspired you. Here's how to go deeper. Visit deeperhealing.com to become a patient. Online, we have loads of courses and a free toxin quiz. Subscribe, and please, please share this episode with someone who needs it. It's always that one-on-one support that really gets people to find deeper healing. Remember, this is educational content, not medical advice. The information shared here should be discussed with your own personal healthcare provider. If you're excited by listening to the medical experts or the personal recovery stories on here, and you want to start your own deeper healing journey, go to deeperhealing.com and start your process.